guys, Yoongi here, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to be reacting to / reviewing Blackpink's newly released second full album titled Born Pink. This album has been very long awaited for some of us, 2 years now I believe, so I'll be reacting to every song one by one. I believe there are 8 tracks on this album in total. We got a track list revealed the other day, which in itself has caused some controversy, because we've already heard 2 of the tracks on the album. Track 1, Pink Venom, which was released as the pre-release single, and track 8, Ready for Love, which was also released officially as the girls' recent PubG collab. Now there is no set rules on how many songs minimum would constitute a full album that I could really find. There's just normally more than 6 tracks, which would be an EP or extended play, and they're usually over like half an hour in length. So it's not necessarily breaking any rules per se, only having 8 tracks on an album. I think the concern here is that the fans were perhaps expecting more. But anyways, let's get into reviewing each track, including these 2. Before we start, I do just want to quickly remind everyone that these are my opinions only, and I would absolutely love to hear yours in the comments if you'd like to share. It's okay if you agree with me, it's okay if you don't, but please try to remain respectful of one another when discussing things in the comments. I really am starting to record this now before I've even listened to the album, so I don't know if I'll love or hate it yet. I really haven't listened to it, so I wanted to give you guys my blind reaction. But no matter what I think of this album, I am a fan of the girls, and I'm in no way intending to direct any hate to them or their producers, etc. Okay, I'm sorry for the long intro, but let's get started with track 1, Pink Venom. The first track on the album, Pink Venom, was released as the pre-release single for this comeback / album, so I think a lot of people will have heard this song at least once by now. I think it's just hit like 300 million views while I'm writing this, and I'm sure that it's going to keep climbing now that there's more attention on their channel, etc. Not like there's not always attention on them, you know what I mean. I did actually quickly share my thoughts on Pink Venom in my recent video where I reacted to songs you guys hate, but I didn't really go into too much detail, so now I think it's a great opportunity to do so. Basically, I shared the fact that pretty much every Blackpink title track so far I've either loved from the get-go or they grew on me fairly quickly. But Pink Venom, it's actually the first one I wasn't so sure on, and it wasn't really growing on me. I never thought it was a quote-unquote bad song anyways, but I think the main problem for me was that it seemed to be trying to do a lot and then consequently didn't quite meet the mark in any of those concepts it was aiming for. The song seems to start in one direction with that typical style of producing we always see Teddy do with Blackpink. It's very familiar, but then when we get to the chorus and there's that anti-drop, which I won't lie, I'm just not a fan of in general, it throws me off because the pre-chorus seems really engaging and then the chorus when we get there is empty. And then we have that kind of 90s inspired rap section and then a rock inspired bridge. I get the idea of incorporating multiple styles into the same song, that's not new in music, but I wasn't overly keen on the execution because it felt more like trial and error rather than an actualized figured out decision and concept that they were going for. Now I'm not gonna lie, it's been a few weeks since I first spoke about this song, and I'm not sure if I'd say the song has grown on me per se to the point where I can confidently say I like it, but I feel like I'm a lot more forgiving now of the aspects I previously felt were more egregious. Problem is that I don't know if it's grown on me or if I'm just more familiar with it now that I've listened to it quite a lot, you know? I don't want to force myself to like anything, but I still currently can't tell you for certain how I feel about this song. Either way, I will admit I do finally see Pink Venom as a song that can grow on me. I know it's not the main point of attention now that the actual title track is out, but I am glad that I can see this song as one I may perhaps enjoy more in future. Let's move on to what is hopefully the main event, track 2, Shutdown. When we pull up, you know it's a shutdown. Shutdown is the actual title track for this album, so I'm going to try not to spend too much time on it because we do have an album full of other music to discuss. But of course, this is the song that's already got millions of views while I'm writing this. This is a title track after all, and this is a song that will represent them to outsiders because not everybody's going to listen to the album. So this is kind of important, you know? I'm not going to lie, on first listen, I spent the entire time with like my eyes wide thinking, oh my god, okay. Now this is the sort of thing I was missing from Pink Venom. It didn't quite have that punch that I wanted as a listener. But Shutdown really does have this instrumental that goes off from the very beginning, and it's kind of addictive. It doesn't really change very much throughout the song. I'm not sure how some people are going to react to that, or if some fans are going to prefer those levels, but I honestly don't mind. I feel like when the instrumental doesn't change much, you have to make sure the verses are at least worth it, and I think they are here. I low-key love when groups have a little staple where they somehow include their name in every song. I love that kind of branding, and I think Blackpink have always done that really well. This song is no exception. I won't lie, I don't know if I've said it before, or or if anybody actually has, because I don't think anyone is brave enough to, but I am. But one of the biggest problems with Blackpink title tracks for me is not that same Teddy format that we're always talking about. It's that they always seem to try and find a way to highlight members' abilities, but they can never hit all four, and they almost never hit Jisoo's. A lot of their songs never quite do her voice justice, and that led people to think she's not a strong singer. That is not the case at all. Their music just doesn't highlight her strengths. But this song, I think, is the most any Blackpink title track has ever suited her, and her voice as well, it actually is shown how talented and versatile she is. I absolutely love that. Even Rose too, she's managed to shine in this song, and they don't overpower each other at all. And don't get me started on the raps. I mean, we're no stranger to seeing Lisa kill it, but I'm so in awe of how Jennie is growing as a rapper. She's absolutely killed it in this song, and I'm actually starting to enjoy her more as a rapper than a singer, I may have to admit at this point, but we'll see how the rest of the album goes. Now, after a few listens, I think that violin in the background of the instrumental, I think that's a violin, it's so loud that it could perhaps be a bit overbearing if you focus on that. And knowing me as an ex-music student, I absolutely will. I'm very guilty of focusing on like one thing in an instrumental, but I don't want that to ruin the song for me, so instead I'm going to focus on learning the lyrics, and hopefully that will distract me. So all in all, for a title track, I'm really excited about this one. I really had my fingers crossed that it would be exciting because I wasn't so keen on Pink Venom. At least this one is one I think I can see myself listening to a lot more. Moving on to track 3 of the album, Typa Girl.
I'm that girl that drives you crazy, but you can't leave me alone.
So when this song starts, it's a very different vibe to Shutdown, like I got whiplash, but that very quickly changes again, and I kind of did a double take, like, oh, okay girls, pop off. This song really makes perfect sense to follow Shutdown now that I think about it. If you played me these songs entirely separately, I would be able to tell you that they belong on the same album. That instrumental again, same as with Shutdown, is kind of addictive, but unlike Shutdown, this one kind of feels like it has more levels to it. Like from just the instrumental, you can clearly identify verses, pre-choruses, chorus, post-chorus, etc. But it's not as clear in the title track. But both work for me in my opinion. For me, I think it's more that it makes sense that there's something going on with the lyrics in Shutdown but a simpler instrumental, and then this song is the opposite. The lyrics are very simple and repetitive, but at least there's something instrumentally interesting. Oh my god, this is a tongue twister. I hope that made sense. It took me like 2 minutes to get into the song and then realize it was in fully English because I honestly was focusing on everybody's voices, not what they were actually saying. And I know I've already mentioned her, but again, this song finally feels like it highlights Jisoo's abilities as a vocalist as much as it does Rose's. I'm not sure if I'm fully sold on the raps yet, I'll be honest. I think they're going to take me a bit longer. So this song for me at the moment absolutely belongs to the vocal line. They sound beautiful, and those falsettos were honestly wow. Their parts kept me sucked into the song right until the end, where I was kind of like, oh, is that it? I wanted it to go on for longer, it's quite short. Time for track 4, which is Yeah, Yeah, Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
From the very beginning of this song, it's already different than anything on the album so far. The instrumental, if you listen to it in the beginning, kind of reminds me of a song you'd hear on like a Disney Channel movie. Like a very like teen angsty song. If you haven't heard it, just check out the instrumental in any part of like the first verse and you'll see what I mean. When we were just in the verses, I wasn't sure if I was going to like this song because of that about the instrumental, but also just because it's so different from everything else on the album. But then when we get to the chorus, it really surprises me. There's kind of like an 80s synth pop type beat. Now we all know the 80s synth sound kind of took over K-pop in like 2021, but of course because they weren't active as a full group, we never really got to see Blackpink's take on it. Perhaps this is when this song was created. I feel like that would make a lot of sense. I'm not sure if this is the best they could have done for their own take on it, but you know, it's the closest we're ever gonna get, so I'll take it. And I do actually love that sound in the instrumental a lot, but I am a big fan of 80s synth pop anyway, so personally it didn't catch me off guard too much, whereas some people, I think going from the harder hitting songs on the album so far to the Disney Channel original movie style in the beginning to this 80s in the chorus, I do honestly think some people are gonna say it's too much. This song hasn't grown on me yet to the point where I've put it in a playlist or anything, but I am going to give it some more listens and we'll see where it goes. Aside from that instrumental, which I guess would also constitute as the chorus, nothing about the verses really drew me in yet, unfortunately. So this one's going to take a little bit more time with me. Now on to track 5, Hard to Love. I manifested this and I'm taking full credit. Oh my god, I didn't realize this song was going to be a Rosé solo. It doesn't really say that in like the description of the song, it's just a surprise, but I love it so much. I was very vocal in my recent videos about K-pop songs you guys hate and my opinions on them, and I said that I wasn't a fan of any of Rosé's solo music so far, so On the Ground and Gone, because I was expecting more. And I know it's rude to say you're expecting more from somebody when you had no idea what kind of direction they would go in a solo debut anyways, but I think my biggest problem was that I know she can do more. We all do. And On the Ground did not highlight her abilities at all, and I refused to accept it. And in that recent video where I mentioned Rosé's solo music, I literally said, I hope if we get more Rosé solos in the future, I hope we get to see more various styles from her to show off her versatility. And then bam, we get this. This song hits the spot for me. This is what I was trying to say. So for anybody who didn't quite get what I was saying when I said that her solos so far didn't really show off her abilities, this is the kind of thing I was talking about. We know she can do more, and here she is proving that. In like the first minute where she was doing the first verse, I was thinking, oh wow, this song suits Rosé so much. I don't know what's going to happen when the rest of them come in. Is it going to suit any of them as much as it does her? But then they just like don't come in. But from very first listen, I'm really excited about this song, as you can tell from the fact that I've gone all giddy. It's not the fact that I'm on a lot of caffeine right now. And I'm excited that the fans are getting to see another side of Rosé. This song is too good to be a B-side. I hope we get stages of this. When they eventually tour, I'm going to look at fan cams of this song. Heck, it would even be cool to see a full group version to see what that would sound like, but I'm in no way trying to take away from this song and the fact that it's Rosé's, it belongs to her. I've been waiting so long for this, I would never take it away from her. I'm really excited to see how a performance of this would sound. I think this concept really, really suits her. Track 6 on the album is The Happiest Girl.
I'll be the happiest girl in the world.
Didn't I say, literally like a couple of minutes ago, that I was starting to prefer Jennie as a rapper? I am ready to eat my words. She literally just said, Dear Yoongi, I'm an incredible singer, shut up. And oh my god, she sounds so good in this song. Like, the deeper tones in her voice, I always knew were there, but this song really highlights them. This song starts off so pretty, and the whole song is kind of simple but effective. It's like the softest song on the album so far, if soft is the right word. But I love that Blackpink can do quote-unquote ballad type songs, but it's accessible to people who don't really like slower or softer songs. It's none of the things you'd usually see in a slower song, it still suits them. I like that we get to hear everybody's voices, like by the time we've even hit the chorus. One of those videos where they do line distributions would be really interesting for this song. I think it might be pretty fair. Again, vocal line come through in this song with those falsettos, and I love that they master the high end of the song when required, and then we have Jennie and Lisa who can do the more lower parts. The song incorporates both, and neither feel out of place at all. Speaking of Lisa, by the way, we haven't really spoke about her much in this video so far, but can we please just quickly touch on how much she's grown as a vocalist? This makes me even more annoyed that her solo debut didn't highlight her talents as well as it could have. I already manifested more Rosé solo music, apparently this is a power I have now, so I'm gonna try it again this time for Lisa. I'd love to see more Lisa solo music that probably highlights how well-rounded she is. Okay, do your thing, universe. Oh, and Jisoo solo please, thank you. But yeah, no word of a lie, as soon as this song ended, this was the first track on the album where I literally went right back to the start and then listened to it again. It's beautiful and I didn't want to leave it, you know? And I'm not normally someone who likes a ballad or a slower song really, but this one is a really nice listen. And like I said, it's accessible to people who don't really like softer songs usually, I think. Next up we have track 7, Tally.
I said fuck it when I feel it, 'cause no one's keeping tally.
This is the one I'm having most difficulty deciding how I feel about. It's got its pros and its cons for me. I like the lyrics, come through girls. It's basically just about doing whatever you want because nobody's keeping tally. I mean, ironic because everybody's keeping tally on them always, but moving on. The thing about this song is, I don't mean to sound awful, but it's definitely an album filler track. You know what I mean? Like there's always songs on albums that are there. It's an album track. It's not got enough going on to be a title track, and you're probably not going to listen to it very much. You might hear it at a concert and think, oh, that's that song, but you don't really actively seek it out. That's me with this song. Like, it's fine. I don't think it's a bad song in any way, but it didn't do much for me to want to keep coming back and listening to it like other songs on the album did, for example, like Rosé's solo and The Happiest Girl just now. It's pretty one note in the instrumental. It's a very, very structured song with clear repetition where needed, so it wouldn't be too hard to get the lyrics stuck in your head, but that's as far as it goes for me with this song. I will say though, one part I do want to highlight is Lisa's rap. I really, really loved the rap in this song. I think it's actually the highlight, although short. This song really suited her. I kind of feel bad that I don't have more to say about this song, but hopefully after more listens that my opinions will change. Last but not least, let's move on to the song we'd already heard as well as Pink Venom, track 8, Ready for Love.
I'm ready for love. Tell me when you're ready.
Like I mentioned in the beginning of this video, this song was officially released recently as a collaboration with the mobile game PubG. PUBG? I think that's what it's called. I won't elaborate any further on that because I don't know a damn thing about games. I'll just go back to talking about music. I'm more comfortable with that. I'm not gonna lie, I listened to this song a whole one time and then forgot about it because it didn't grab my attention, but I couldn't remember why. So it was actually kind of nice to re-listen to the song as part of this album to see if my opinion changed. Unfortunately, the song is still just, it doesn't hit the spot for me, you know? I'm sorry, I really did want to end this video on a positive, trust me. But as soon as I got past that first chorus of the song, I remembered why I listened to it once and moved on with my life. It does have more of a place on the album, I'll be honest, like it makes slightly more sense to me now, and I think it makes sense as a final track on an album, you know, where some songs really fit their place, but that's as far as it goes for me. The song just doesn't really do much for me, but I don't think it does much for them either, if that makes sense. I don't really think it does the best job at highlighting their abilities as singers, as rappers. The rest of this album does that a lot better than any other Blackpink music has so far. This song feels like a digression. I have one positive if we're trying, and that's the fact the instrumental in the chorus itself, by itself, I think is kind of cool, but it's not the sort of thing you've really seen in a Blackpink song, and the weird thing about this song to me in general is that it doesn't feel like a Blackpink song. But then again, there's probably a reason for that. This isn't a stereotypical Blackpink track, really. Yes, it was produced by Teddy. Yes, there were rumours of this song floating around years ago, but it wasn't formally released until now, and I do think there's a reason for that. And when the time has come for this song to be released, it wasn't released as a song for the K-pop industry. It's a collaboration with a global game. I don't know if that's intentional, but I definitely think you can hear more of a Western influence in this song. So for that reason, we can't exactly expect this to be of the caliber of the girls' work so far, but still, I'm probably trying to be too diplomatic here. The song's been put on their album to represent them, and I expect more from that. Again, I know we keep saying, but especially after making their fans wait for 2 years, it's the least we could do. So I'm sorry, I'm really sorry. No, I'm just gonna pretend it's not there. Conclusion time. I do want to close off today's video with a little conclusion to round up my thoughts in general, if that's okay. And I am pleased to say I'm coming out of listening to this album really happy. Yes, we waited 2 years for only an 8-track album, but I think the direction that they went in with this really suits them. And for the first time, I think this album actually really highlights every member's abilities more than we've ever seen before. I touched on it earlier, but it never quite sat right with me that Jisoo's voice was never complimented in their music, and it made people think she was weak. But there are multiple tracks on this album that really highlight her voice. It's time to give her a solo, YG. Jennie is really starting to prove to everybody how she is both a beautiful vocalist and growing so much as a rapper, and I can't actually wait to see more solo music from her, by the way. I think if you compare the raps in her solo to this album, you'll see how much she's really improved. Lisa absolutely killed it with her raps as always. I never had any doubts there, but she's also showed that she has some amazing, previously unexplored tones in her voice as well, and I'm glad that we're finally getting to see them. And that Rosé solo, oh my god, it was such a pleasant surprise. So far, I think that's actually one of my favourite songs on the album because I am so happy she got one for starters. It was a pleasant surprise, but also because finally we're seeing what she can do. To be honest, I didn't go into this with high expectations at all. I of course wasn't on K-pop YouTube at the time, but I was really disappointed in the first album. Like, I don't even listen to it now. Like, it felt a bit all over the place, and literally none of the B-sides or songs we didn't already know pulled me in. Whereas with Born Pink, I can actually picture myself listening to this album more, really starting to love some of the songs and wanting them in my daily playlist. Do I think some people are going to be upset that the album is in a lot of English? Yes. But do I also think that was a smart move considering their global image, if that makes sense? The fact that they are so big in the West, I think it makes sense. I'm not mad at it because it doesn't feel like they strayed away too much from their sound to try and fit into doing English music, if that makes sense. So overall, 2 thumbs up from me, and I'm excited to see how this album will continue to grow for me. What songs will I start to love? Will my opinions change? We can only find out by listening. Okay guys, and that was it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching if you got this far. I would absolutely love to hear your thoughts on this album. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and please let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you're new here and haven't yet subscribed, please hit the subscribe button down below and turn on the notification bell. That should let you be the first to hear whenever I upload. And as always, my social medias will be on screen. That is my Twitter and my Instagram. I always follow back fellow K-pop stans, so let's be friends. And I'll see you next time. Bye guys!